Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. This is Dragon Videos and welcome to a Has-Been Hotel where we're going to discuss mostly about the characters in Has-Been Hotel and my personal thoughts. In my previous video, I had a review about the Has-Been Hotel, but I thought for this video, I'm going to focus more on the characters and give my thoughts to each and every one of them. Oh, and be warned, there will be spoilers, so if you did not see the show, please watch it. Oh, and if you are under 18, that show is made for adults, so please get off this video. Well, if I want to start with the character, it'd be best to start with the main one. Charlie definitely was a huge ball of sunshine of hell, or the basic Disney princess that is more adult version. She has a few tendencies of swearing, but only when she's ticked off about something, and that doesn't happen very often. She's very polite and composed, which I guess is very admirable, as well as the fact that she doesn't use her title to abuse it. She's naive in her goals, which I can definitely see, but at the same time, I do appreciate that she tries to see the good in other people, no matter how difficult it can be at times. She sincerely tries and cares about everyone. It's just for her, it's hard to find that balance between being assertive and being powerful. So, in some ways, she has been slowly developing that. And her goals are definitely something that you can't help but cheer on to make it work throughout the entire show. I mean, true, we could have seen more of it if the show was a little longer, but I still like of how Charlie is presented so far as someone who just sincerely wants to help others and hopefully in the future becomes more assertive in what she's planning to do. Can't say anything about Charlie without including her girlfriend. That's right. I am going to talk a little bit more about Vaggie. While some people had speculated earlier in the pilot that she was a fallen angel, I didn't exactly go full on into that theory until later on, and also when someone decided to throw a sneak peek picture of Vaggie with wings. Putting that aside, I feel like in a lot of ways, regardless of being a demon or an angel, Vaggie is so supportive of Charlie's goals and wants nothing more for them to come true. And of course, when you learn about the backstory of her being a former exorcist, I still would love to know if they are heaven born or if they are once a human soul, so it would help kind of clarify things a little bit more. Vaggie put her past behind her when she realized of just how messed up everything is and wants to do what's better for everyone. And though some people have said that Vaggie lied of who she isn't exactly a very good liar and just technically hid the truth from Charlie all this time. So I say that lying is a bit of an extreme term to use for that. But putting that aside, I do appreciate Vaggie's veracity and the fact that she compliments Charlie's softness. She makes sure that Charlie doesn't get into anything too crazy and practically becomes her anchor when she might be a little wild. Though her advice doesn't always fall through in the cracks at times, like what happened with Alistair and the deal, it still didn't change the fact that Vaggie is still that one voice of reason at times where you have to prevent and protect yourself from going into any dangers.
Not to mess with the radio demon.
Of course, this video wouldn't be complete without the radio demon. When we first saw him in the pilot, he definitely was an air of mystery, suddenly showing up at Charlie's door with hidden intentions other than to help out the hotel. It still rings true when he is seen in the actual show. Still a bit shady, but he seems to throw some of his weight around to the hotel whenever possible. He definitely is the last resort many people will want to go with, especially Charlie, who reluctantly agreed to a yet to be named deal that she had to come up with later on at episode 7. So, whatever his hidden intentions are, it's pretty clear that he is desperate to get out of this unknown deal with someone we have yet to know about. Fair bet it's Rue, considering of how Vivzy Pop said that she's considered a looming threat. And I'd be darned if that wasn't the case.
Alistair, they let me put on roach puppet shows without booing.
An enjoyable collective to be around. I admit one could get a...
Yes, our chaotic maid. I can't say much about her. She definitely is very zany and somewhat friendly. She was even nice enough to actually dust off Angel after he had a hard day of work. But at the same time, she's that one character you really need to keep your toes on because you don't know what's going on in her head. And seems to have a very interesting relationship with Alistair. Not as bad as Husks, but at the same time, you don't really know why on earth she would want to hang out with a guy like him, but I guess hopefully season 2 will give us a little more explanation to why Nifty the way she is.
Call me Whiskers again and I'll jam that bottle down your throat.
Kinky. Come on.
Husk is the bartender with attitude. He's very blunt of what comes to mind, even if it is against his own good. Husk really just means well, despite all the grumpy he has in his heart. He really gets real with everyone. He knows what they're going through, he knows who they really are on the inside, and of course, he is honest, to say the least. He's secretive at times, but he does try to look out for others, even go as far as trying to warn Alistair about Mimsy's antics, which, of course, got bitten in the face at the end, but not too badly. Just a warning from Alistair, to say the least. Putting that aside, Husk definitely is that one friend that you really want to lean on to. He's not perfect, to say the least, and I even found it shocking that he was actually an overlord. But it does give off a very interesting parallel considering Valentino is an overlord who died in the 1970s, same time as that of Husk. And these two also have wings. But their approach to how they handle people is so widely different. And raise your hand if you want to see a showdown between these two, 'cause I know I do.
Act! It's who I need to be. And this is my escape. Where I can forget about it all. How much I hate everything. A place where I can get high and not have to think about how much it hurts. And maybe if I can ruin myself enough in the process, if I end up broken, I won't be his favorite toy anymore. And maybe he'll let me go.
Someone hug this poor man. He's been through so much. Okay, so basically, out of all the demons that we've seen so far in need of redemption, Angel has been the most deserving one. Now, in the beginning of a series, he seemed like the kind of guy that would disobey Charlie's orders and was just using the hotel just as a place to crash and not have to pay rent. And seemed to like his job. Well, we learned later on that's not the case. What he puts on is just a facade, something he uses just to cope with what he's going through.
Now, please, I'm sorry. Should you bring her here to...
Good Lord! That is so much pain, and you can hear it in Blake Roman's voice. He really does deliver the anguish that Angel has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's no wonder so many of us sympathize with him. Heck, even I feel bad for him when he has to be around Valentino. It's even painful to watch the scenes with those two together, just stamped in infinity. He needs to get out of that relationship as soon as possible. Hopefully one that doesn't involve him dying. Rosie was surprisingly a very big delight in Hello Rosie. She comes across as a bit scary and a little unpredictable, not as the same level as Alistair, but in some ways you do have to watch your toes with her, both figuratively and literally. Putting that aside, she definitely is a very caring individual. One of the overlords where I feel like is going to go onto Charlie's side when the situation calls for it. Hopefully, she managed to survive a final episode and has taken some time to come to value the hotel for what it stands for. I also appreciate of how she helps Charlie clear her head when her fiasco at Heaven was messing her up. Rosie does come across as someone I would want to get some life advice from, or love advice in that case. Just someone who would be the mediator in a relationship and just tries to give you that reassurance of, like, okay, this person really cares for you and that there's nothing wrong with being flawed. It was also thanks to Rosie that Charlie was able to fix her relationship with Vaggie. And I hope I get to see more of Rosie later on in the future. Oh boy, we could use it right now. Okay, I absolutely love Carmilla Carmine. She is cutthroat but yet very honorable. Maybe even more honorable than that of Lute. Just saying, and pretty ironic because she is a sinner but wants nothing more than to protect those that she cares about. Mostly her daughters, and I think there's a hint that Zestial can also be in that equation too. She definitely is a leader of sorts, one that you have to earn a lot of respect from. And like Velvet, she doesn't take nonsense too lightly, even from the likes of Velvet herself. She will be willing to train that person, being that of Vaggie, even going as far in terms of Vaggie, letting her hair down in order to make the fight equal. That definitely says a lot about how honorable Carmine is. She's willing to hear other people out. It's just trying to see her point of view, or at least bring certain aspects of an issue up that makes her listen and see the realities of certain things. I hope that we get to see more of her in season 2 because I can definitely see her as someone who can support the hotel. A little reluctantly at first, but someone who may also help put the V's in their place if it cause more trouble in season 2. Just, it would be so nice if there's one more overlord on Charlie's side. So, if I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the V's, it's best to try to do them separately. In this case, I best start off with Vox, the brains of the operation. Well, I'll use that term loosely because sometimes his plans are a bit reckless, as we have seen in episode 2. I mean, come on, if you are planning to have someone spy for you, the least you could do is come up with a plan B in case they get caught. It's not rocket science. Anyway, Vox definitely is someone who likes to be in control of everything. He practically has cameras everywhere, and my lord, does he have this very strong obsession with Alistair. It has yet to be explained, but it definitely is concerning, to say the least. Concerning up to the point where even Val and Velvet are like, what the hell is going through your head right now, dude? Because he tries to pretend that he's in control of everything, but in actuality, when he does blow a gasket, everything falls apart and blows up into his face, as we've seen in Stayed Gone. So, in terms of how much of a threat he is, I'm pretty sure that's going to be more established in Season 2, considering of the recent news we got in regards to that. I do feel like we're going to be on their toes, that's for sure. And it's not going to be pretty for Angel Dust when he's in that equation. But I also have a million and one questions of why he has such an interesting relationship with Valentino. It definitely comes across as a little bit of an on and off pairing. They do act like a married couple, I will say to that. Velvet definitely is one of the 3Vs that deserves a bit more screen time compared to the other two. She's filled with attitude and sass. She is basically the Cruella de Vil of Has Been Hotel, being a huge fashionista and not afraid to opinionate that. She definitely knows of how to get under people's skin, as we see with Carmilla towards the song Respectless. She describes herself as being the backbone of the V's, though we have yet to kind of see of how she's worthy of that description. Though, considering of how these two behave, I wouldn't put it past me of how that would be the case. And I do like of some of her hair designs. My favorite is the one in the finale where it's all puffed up, though her potion making still does possess a certain problem and cause for concern, which I'm pretty sure we'll see more of in season 2. And I still also question of how she's able to get a relationship with those two. And I've yet to see of like just how healthy this is compared to like of how she only has been presented in 3 episodes. But I definitely can't wait to see of what is cooked up with her and her potion making. Let's just hope it doesn't turn into a Midsummer Night's Dream or Midsummer's Nightmare, as she'll probably do. Oh, if you heard that crash, that would be Valentino practically cooking up a storm of his latest peppermint today. Yeah, with Valentino, to put it summarily, he is basically a volcano with legs. He gets very ticked off very easily. Whatever upsets him, he's not afraid to show that he is upset. Even when he is in his most controlled manner on those of high superior power, there is no doubt that he is a bully. Well, basically, how he treats Angel, a bully would be an understatement. He is one of the worst bosses in history.
Well,
Just when you
let me
thought
call up the
Blitz's
lowest earners this
relationship
month.
with Moxie was bad, this guy definitely puts in a whole new term of bad boss. And while he tries to supposedly mimic Asmodeus, he strikes me more as a mini Mammon, if you will. In terms of his design, I do like his design, especially with the hearts in the moth wings. I even thought it was genius of how they made the wings into a long coat, so it was almost hard to guess or even suspect that those were actually wings on his back that are just wrapping up his body, which could mean that in some ways he's not only insecure, but he likes to hide a certain part of himself that he doesn't show to anyone but his fellow Vs, which I'm pretty sure is going to be explored later in season 2. But the relationship he has with people is so bad, I'd say it's a miracle that he practically has those two, Vox and Velvet, as friends. Though I have yet to understand why. And as I can definitely say about this for poor Angel, run, man! Run! I gotta say, I wasn't expecting Lucifer to be like this at all. a very depressed yet fun-loving fallen angel who wants nothing more than the best for Charlie. I have to admit, it also was nice to have a break from the usual bad dads we had in Hell of a Boss. He wasn't exactly the best father, and of course his depression doesn't exactly justify it, but at least we have some idea that he does care about Charlie and her ideals and tries to support her whenever possible. You do feel like, in some ways, he is just like Pink Diamond. The reason why I say that is because both of them are very different from the respective people they come from. They have different ideas, want nothing more than to play around and experiment, but somehow get pushed away out of a deal. And it, unfortunately, unlocks unwanted consequences that the kid will have to deal with later. I don't know what the future may hold, but it does feel like Lucifer might be more apparent given if there's more episodes in Amazon. And I'm pretty sure he'll play a very big key role when it comes to the next baddies coming up. Oh boy, if he gets a hold of Valentino, it's not going to be pretty. Though I guess we would have to prepare ourselves or our cauldrons of tears and pain when he sees Lilith again after she returns from heaven. Though the reason why she wound up there is probably going to break his heart in multiple pieces. Oh, I am going to have a wonderful time talking about Hazbin's Hotel's favorite angel. So, Adam, first man, Lilith's ex-husband. Yeah, I'm pretty sure after the whole Garden of Eden incident, he only became an exorcist just to get back at her. It was even more evident when he was in a meeting with Charlie, and, well, oh, I feel so bad for Charlie and Vaggie. It definitely makes me wonder why Heaven even bothered to do it in the first place.
So
Aside
you
from
weren't
that,
here?
he definitely
No,
makes
you
some
think I'd come down
statement
there?
as a
I mean,
villain
I
in the
love the
story,
vibe. Totally love your
going as
tunes.
far as
Pretty fucking hard.
blackmailing Vaggie about if she didn't do as he told him to, it wouldn't end very well. And of course, he decides to drop the bomb on them
That means
all
you.
during the tail end of a song of
That
You
explains so
Did
much.
Know.
I know, I fucking rock.
So, of course, this resulted in Charlie temporarily questioning things for a bit, and he even goes as far as trying to cut down whatever opponent possible. He was even able to take on Alistair, one of the most feared radio demon overlords in existence. So yeah, this guy is no joke despite the amount of comedy that he's been put onto this fella. When it comes to battle, he's definitely a heavy contender. So, in some ways, despite a short time, his demise was a bit of a satisfying one for me. But in some ways, it definitely feels like maybe it won't be the last time we see him. I don't know, I'll just have to watch season 2 to find out about that. Adam's right hand woman. Though I don't know why Lute, of all people, is so attached to this guy. That's the one thing that I hope season 2 will explore, but one thing is very clear is that she's very dedicated to her job. Well, maybe far too dedicated. It's abundantly clear that she has no qualms of wanting to tear others apart, But unlike Adam, she definitely takes her job to a serious extent, making sure that she doesn't cross the line too far in terms of what has to be done in the memorial of heaven, as well as the tasks that are up ahead. She has seemed to have issues with Vaggie, and while her physique and her design is very nice, the one thing that bugged me about her was mostly in episode 6 when she called Angel. Yeah, she practically left Vaggie, tore out her eye, so she isn't exactly in a good position to throw glass stones at houses. So, in a lot of ways, this will be interesting to explore more about who she is, why she's so attached to Adam. I don't know if it's because she used to be a human soul that was alone in the world and just found comfort in Adam, or if she was just a heaven-born that was just so different from the rest. I still would like to know about that portion for the Exorcists, but hopefully by season 2 we can have more exploration with Heaven. Sir Pentious right at the bat struck me as basically a character that's better off being a good guy more than a bad guy. I mean, right off episode 2, he came across as this very unique steampunk inventor that's hell bent on world domination, but it didn't take long as a couple of seconds to get caught when he was on a spy mission, as well as the fact that Alistair managed to beat him up in a matter of maybe a minute. So, yeah, it doesn't say much, but over time as you watch him, you do feel kind of bad. He tries! He tries hard to improve himself in more ways than one. And I guess in a lot of ways, some fans have been pointing out that he begins to show a more softer side later on in season 1. Though, of course, I do wish that he had a bit more screen time before he had his ultimate redemption act. So that way we definitely would see more of how far he had come. But I still liked it either way. I also loved that snake design he had. And it was very appropriate because the snake began the sin, and the snake, or in this case, Sir Pentious, was the sinner that redeems all souls, or is the start of that redemption dream that Charlie had wanted for so long. In terms of what role he might play in season 2, I'd say it might be more of helping some of the angels change their minds about Charlie's redemption, as well as just giving off an idea of what heaven is going to be like. I don't exactly blame many fans for having mixed feelings about Sarah. Her design is beautiful, and I get that she's just trying to do what she thinks is best for heaven. And plus, she may have witnessed Lucifer's fall, so it may be older than Charlie, so we may understand her perspective soon in season 2. But at the moment, a lot of people kind of hate her. I can understand because she promoted the extermination herself, as well as going as far as hiding that secret from Sarah. And of course, she had just witnessed this angel's redemption, or the closest thing to redemption, but has yet to see physical proof of what it means to have sinners redeemed. So, of course, this is a frustrating thing that even Charlie gets angry about, and justifiably so. Sarah strikes me as something similar to Alma from Encanto, very fearful and unable to judge the reality that they're in. They're too busy in their own fears to actually pay attention to what their actions are doing to others in the present. And I feel like this is going to eventually bite Sarah later on, and may lose the one person that she's trying to protect. So, there are two more angels that I guess are good enough to talk about. Emily of the younger Seraphims was definitely an unexpected turn of events. She's basically heaven's version of Charlie, friendly, bubbly, and someone you could actually get along with. And she seemed to be the only angel willing to listen to Charlie's side of things and giving her a chance at what redemption means. She even went as far as questioning the concepts of what the redemption is. And in a lot of ways, it's understandable of why she feels betrayed by her own sister, who she looked up to. And rest assured, I'm going to talk about Sarah right about now. So, these are just my thoughts on the characters so far from season 1, and I hope I get to do a further explanation in season 2. Their arcs are pretty good so far. I know that, like, Nifty could probably use some work because we know next to nothing about her, as well as I hope we get to see more of Avias and what chaos they're going to do, though considering Velvet is social media, it's going to be a bit of a disaster. So these are just my thoughts, and I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of these characters and what role they're going to play in season 2? Also, stay tuned because I'll eventually set up a list of top 10 things we want to see in Hazbin Hotel Season 2. This is Dragon Video signing off.